All right. Good evening, everybody. This is our second Cognos Analytics session, and my name is Elena, and I'm your Cognos System Administrator. So here is the agenda for tonight. Last time we talked about the data pre-processing, right? And we talked about data exploration and data visualization, right? But today we're going to talk about dashboards. We're going to talk how to build the dashboards, right? We're going to talk about the stories, and also you have fun. At the end of the last assignment is going to be the group work. We're going to talk about how to share group, how to work in the groups in Cognos, if you will. And I'll show you some samples too, right? So there we go. Remember, we looked at the claims and weather data set where you track the car insurance information, including the policy type, right? Coverage type, effective date too. Then also there is some customer information such as country, state, etc. And then there is a claim information, right? And the idea was to predict the total claim amount, right? So here is a partial screenshot of our data. And this is actually how you're going to structure your assignment of 4, right? In assignment 4 is a continuation of 3. So let's just pretend I'm working here on assignment 4. You're asked to show the screenshot of your data, which is here, right? This is data module, and it's a grid view of your data. Also, what we did last time was we did some data pre-processing, right? So what we did, we added a filter. We want to exclude the rows with missing effective to date. In other words, the criteria for the rows to stay is effective to date is not missing, which makes sense, right? If there is no effective to date, it means that the person might not be covered, right? Okay, now, uh, what we also did was we created the selectable filter. Remember, selectable filter is a filter that you can turn on or off as needed, right? And we say policy type is personal, vehicle type is small, right? What we also did was we replaced the missing income values. We also replaced the monthly premium values, and we took the column average, right? And you also have the claim reason column. And if the value is missing, you set it to other. So this is just a quick recap of what was done. Some of it we discussed in the session. Some of it is discussed in the videos. There's several videos that you watched, right? And this is also, we created the data group, right? This is what we worked on last time. Now, one thing to notice here that last time you did some data visualizations, but the purpose of that was to get the quick insights from it. So if I open this data exploration that we worked on last time, what you see in here is a set of cards, but there is no way to tell the story about these cards, right? There's no way to see the relationships among those cards. We know that they were created from, they use the same data set as a source, right? They use the same claims and weather data set as a source, but there is no way to select a specific data point in one visualization and make the same data points to be selected in the other visualization. We don't have a way to do that, right? Then there is no way to add widgets. There is no way to add like things like text. Then we don't have something like, well, we cannot add any animations. We cannot specify that we want to appear things, we want to disappear. You cannot format it, right? You're stuck with the blue color. There's no way to change color and a lot of other stuff. There is no way to change background, right? There's no formatting, in other words. So this is not what you're going to present to your management. This is what you use to initially explore the data, right? But what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at dashboards. So let's think about it. What is an advantage of dashboards? We're presenting our insights about the data, and you have attractive layout, right? And each visualization, you can change the properties, such as text, font, etc., right? The background. And then you may reuse the same, well, the thing is this, I mentioned before that I mentioned selecting one data point in one visualization and the same data point selected on other visualization. So what's going to happen on dashboard is, let's assuming that you use the same source or visualizations. It's an assumption. If you use the same source on all visualizations, and when you click on the data point, it is the same data point will be selected to on all visualizations, right? I'll show you that. I'll show you. Okay, then unlike exploration, a dashboard, you may have text and widgets, and you may also reuse visualizations from exploration, and you may toggle between view mode and edit mode. And well, similar to exploration, you may add the calculations, you may use built-in assistant, etc. But one thing to keep in mind is that if you add a calculation to in a dashboard, it will not be available on other dashboards that you create from the same data module. It will be available only in the dashboard where you created it. So if you want the calculation to be reusable across the board where you use the same data as a source, you have to create the calculation in the data module, right? Remember, we have some calculations in the data module. So let me close this thing here, and I'm gonna reopen. This is a data module. Oops, this is a data module, right? Well, as you can see, we have some, we do have some calculated fields, like, for example, I believe we calculated something like an annual premium, right? Yes, this is calculated field, annual premium, right? Because if I want to use it, if I want to be able to use this thing in all dashboards, I'm gonna add it here to data module. So this is an embedded calculation because you are adding a value for you're adding a column, right? And you adding a value for each row. So this is embedded calculation. And also in here I have a standalone calculation where it's average income, and you're not storing this value in every single row. You're just storing it as this one value, right? And if you watch one of the videos explains the details on calculation types, right? So this is a standalone. Now, so you've got all your calculations, and when we create dashboard from this data module, all these calculations will be available in our dashboard, right? Now, so this is about what dashboard is. Now, the next question is, how do you create dashboard? Well, you have several options in here. So first of all, let's close this data module right now. Remember this, everything that you've been storing is in the my content, right? You know it by now. So here I have my claims on weather data module that I just looked at. One way to create dashboard is to click here. This will open this menu, and I can just say create dashboard. When I do this, this data module will be used as a source, right? I click create dashboard. Now I have several options here. Tab dashboard is where your visualizations appear on multiple tabs, right? And infographic is just a long page. The visualizations are not split into tabs, right? So, well, we're gonna use the tab dashboard. Well, first of all, because you can organize the visualizations based on a subtopic, if you will, right? You can apply a filter to the single tab. Then also, tab visualization, tab dashboard can be saved as a story, right? This is very important. The tab dashboard can be saved as a story because you have to create a story for assignment 4, and I'm going to show you the shortcut tonight, okay? That will save you a lot of time on assignment 4, okay? So now I showed you here how to create it, and I discussed here the differences. And the similarities are both interactive. You may use the predefined layout templates, right? You may change how things appear, and you may toggle between view mode and edit mode. So view is basically you're previewing it as a user who's going to use it, and edit is when you make changes to it, right? Oh, then you may also preview the data. There is a way to preview the data that is being visualized. But what are the templates? Well, take a look at this. Those are the templates. So those are the called out of the box predefined template, and the plus size is that they outer resize. So depending on your screen size, right? This pieces here, these panels, they are resizable, right? The screen here, it consists of multiple panels and they're resizable, but this is a free form. So free form is basically you can put in as many visualizations as you want, and it's not resizable based on a screen size. You can't resize it, and also, well, resize I mean it adjusts based on the size of your monitor, right? And then you can basically, you see this, you have the area, right? Predefined template, the area is divided into the section, and you may, um, it's something called absolute positioning. Your visualization size, you could make it the same size as the size of the section, and I'll show you how to do that, right? So I spelled it out, the differences for you. So now we're gonna look at the interface. So this is what I'm gonna do. I selected the top, and I'm gonna select this 2 by 2, and I'm gonna click OK. So I chose to use this template 2 by 2. One thing to keep in mind is that the more visualizations you have on the top, the longer it may take for your page to load. Okay. Now, if you have 2 by 2 visualization on the first tab, you may still use a different layout on the next tab. So in other words, your tabs don't need to have the same layout. The dashboard tabs do not need to have the same layout. And you may change the layout too, and I'll show you that. But before we do that, let's look at this interface. Take a look at this. This is a, what is this? It's a data module that I just used to build this dashboard. And one thing to remember is this. There is a dependency between the data modules that I used as a source and between this file, okay? So basically what's gonna happen is that if I delete, if I'm not careful, if I don't pay close attention, and somebody does it all the time, trust me, if I'm not careful, if I delete the claims and weather data module that I used here as a source, this dashboard will become permanently invalid. There is no way to fix it. So I need to be careful with my deletes. And also, from last session, remember there is no recycle bin. It's not like you deleting a file on your personal PC. You go in the recycle bin and you can restore, right? Sometimes you can, sometimes, well, it depends, but most of the times you can restore. There is no recycle bin in here, so once it's deleted, it is gone, right? Okay, so, and also notice that little icon you see next to the field name, it also is based on the data type, right? And you've got the same properties. You may add additional filters, but bear in mind that they will apply only here, only in this dashboard, right? You may create data groups, you may create navigation paths, and etc. You may look at the properties, okay? So now let's take a look at those. Well, sometimes I go with slides, sometimes I don't, but oh, another thing is that this is a filter area, right? In here, you can define, you have several options. You can define the filter for a single tab, or you can define the filters for all tabs, and we're gonna look at examples of both. But this area, just a little housekeeping thing, we can collapse this area to make our visualizations look better, if you will, right? Now, so let's take a look at, so I went over this part, right? And you have at the bottom, that's a data tray. So depending on what visualization you select, you can see here the whole data module, or you can see, or you can see what data is being visualized. So right now it's just showing the whole because I didn't select any visualizations, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Oh, another thing is that, and I will get to it, I'll go over pins and I'll go over this as an assistant, right? So to add new visualization, you can do the same thing as you did last time, right? In the data exploration, you could use a little assistant, or you could also use this guys here to create visualization from scratch, right? So like, for example, I can go ahead and I can add my, I drag and drop, but pay attention. I want to hover my mouse pointer over this arrow because I want the size of the visualization to be the size of this little slot, right? There we go. Now, what this, it opened up the properties, right, of the visualization. Remember that if I have asterisk, it means that it's a required field, right? I must specify something here to be able to see my visualization. So in this case, let's say I want the segments to be, well, I can do, sometimes I'm interested in number of claims perhaps, right? So I'm gonna look at I'm gonna take the customer. Oh no, the customer is gonna be the segment size because I want the customer to represent, I want the slice to represent the uh, number of customers, let's say, right? Relative number of customers, if you will. Now, but the segment, I want to do the state, right? I want to do something like that. Each slice is a state, and the segment size is proportional to the number of customers. So how do I know what it's doing? Remember this, I can click at the summarize, and it's gonna tell me that it counts the distinct number of customers. This is the number of customers per state. And I can just minimize. But earlier I mentioned that you can play with the properties. So this is what? The pie chart. I click here to edit the properties. And nice thing here is that I can select, I want to show the percentages in here because, well, I really want to do the comparison, right? I want to know how, let's say, the number of customers compare. Now, what else I could do is I could make it even fancier. I could make it look like a donut, right? And here where it specifies a diameter, I can change my color. I can change my legend if I wanted to, like turn it on and off, and I can change my appearance, like a fill color. I can add the border, right? It's just an example, and I can show title, and then I can do something like percentage of customers by state, right? I can do this, okay? Well, this is one way to add visualizations, okay? But before I do anything, before we do anything, we need to save this. Oh, okay, for some reason, sometimes, oh, okay, I will need to look at it and to make sure that I still show the labels. I need to make sure that that option is still turned on, right? But anyways, it's showing the legend and I wanted to see the percentages, okay? Now let's see if I minimize this. Oh, now it will show. Okay, so sometimes it's just a little housekeeping thing. You need to close certain panels, right? And then you will see the percentages here. Okay, now another way you can add visualization, there is something called a pin. Pins allow us to add, well, they're like favorite. If there is a visualization that you use a lot, you may want to add it to favorites and then use it from the favorites, right? Pins is similar to favorite. So let me go ahead. First, I need to save this. And I'm going to save it in my content. And let's call it a claims dashboard, right? This is a claims dashboard. I'm going to save this thing. And what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to go to that I'm gonna go back to the welcome page and I'm gonna go, this is our data exploration. See what I'm doing now is I'm going to, so here, do you remember? Those are the analysis that we did the last time, right? So I looked at the total claim by vehicle class. I looked at the here, those are the percentage of customers by the cars that they drive, right? So here, this is a marital status and claim amount. Oh, see this? This is an error. Why do I see this error? Because I might be using some field in here that I may have deleted or I may have made hidden from the data module that is used as a source. So once in a while, you're going to see these errors, right? So you have to be careful when you delete something. But anyway, so this is focused on the claims. Well, let's just do this. I want to look at the total claim, right? Coverage for claim reason. So what I could do is this. I could put the pin. I can pin this. To pin this, I do this. And when I do it, it's going to add my visualizations to here. When I click here, this is a set of favorites. And in one of the videos, I show you how to search these pins. You can search the pins. Because as you keep on working on this list becomes longer, right? So here is the pin that I just added, the crosstalk chart. Now, if I go back to my dashboard, I can easily add visualization from the pins. So this is my, see this? I just add this. One thing to keep in mind is this. You may create a pin in the dashboard, right? But if you want to add this visualization to the exploration, you might lose some properties. And I'm showing you that in one of the video I'm demonstrating. Sometimes when you reuse visualization, you may end up losing some properties depending on where you use it. Because remember that you could not change the colors, right, in the exploration, but you can here. Now, I've got this too. Now I'm gonna do something else, like, okay, so remember this, you can edit from assistant, right? So I can type something like data, right? And then I'm gonna see, oh, could not find any related. Okay, I just have to type the word data. It's not question mark, it's just data. Sorry. Okay, now it is. This is a claim and measure data module, right? Remember that I can just pick up any visualizations that I want from here. So one of my thing is the state. Well, I want to take state for a reason, and I'll show you why. So suppose that if I don't see it, then, well, or if I don't see it, I'm gonna pick something else. But see this, what is this? This is the group, right? And I believe that was called the state code, something like that, right? So this is, see this, those are the fields in your data: monthly premium, number of policies, employee status, and then you've got the marital status, you have the annual premium, well, etc., right? Or I could just pick something, right? Let's just click on the total claim amount, and it's gonna give me some of the fields that I might be interested in, right? And perhaps I want to look at the income. So now I've got some visualizations that I can use. I can just take visualization and just drag and drop, right? Just something like that. And if I don't like what I see here, I can just go here and I can always select a different visualization, right? Or I can always change what I'm visualizing in here. And if I don't like the visualization at all, you can delete it, right? You can delete. Here, deleting this visualization does not, you're not deleting actual data, so you're good here. I just delete this visualization from this view, right? Another thing is that you can have more than one tab, right? So I can click here, add another tab, and you can have a different layout. Or you can see that if, suppose that I created a tab, but then I changed my mind about the layout. Well, here it is, this one here. You can change the template at any time. You can change the template at any time, remember that, right? Or you can also rename your tabs, right? So if I click over here, I'm just gonna name it as perhaps, I'm just making it up, right? Okay, so I've got two tabs, and also the properties that are available depend on what you have selected. Like for example, if I'm looking at right now I'm looking at the tabs, right? And for the tabs, I can change the color of my title. Then I can change the color that the selected tab appears. See this green underline, and etc. Right? Here, I'm gonna let you play around with this. So now here I've got the total claim, right? For claim reason. So I've got this grid in here. I could also do this. Oh, here, this is a state code. I just drag and drop it here. Let's see what it does. Okay, this is doing a map, right? But I did not specify what I wanted to actually visualize, right? So we can do location color could be perhaps a number of people. Well, I'm selecting it for a good reason, and I'll show you why. So well, we can do number of policies, or you can also do the customer, right? Location color is going to be the relative number of customers, and I'll show you why I'm doing this. Okay. So now what else I could do is this. I could take perhaps so see this. I can take this. Let's duplicate it. Let's duplicate it. Okay. So I can go here, right? See this? I click here, and then there should be an option to make a copy of this. Oops. Look, this is what I just did was this is the heading that you may edit. Okay, now in order to duplicate, I click on this and see this little bar, and I'm going to select this duplicated. Oh, okay. Now just put it here. I'll show you what I'll do now. Look, right now, I'm gonna show you that all of these visualizations are connected. So what I'm doing here is I'm selecting one state here. Watch what's gonna happen. All of my data on this tab got adjusted. The same state is selected here, and these calculations are adjusted. This is filtered for this specific state that I selected in the first visualization. So if I go here, I can see it, right? So it's selecting the data point, and the data point is a state code. I selected one data point, and it selected the same data point in other visualizations, right? So for example, suppose that I want to filter the data for specific state, right? Then I select my state here, and it all got filtered, right? Now suppose that I wanted to do comparison for different states, right? Like in here, I selected Missouri, but I want to see the same data for Kansas, just perhaps, right? So I'm gonna look at the relationship in here, widget connections. Do you see this? So all of this widget belongs to the same group, right? They belong to the same group. But in order for me to view one state at the top and another state at the bottom, I need to break this connection. And the way to do it is this. I want to disconnect this widget, right? I want to disconnect it from the first two. I'm going to do this. See this? This will break links. It will break all links for this visualization, right? So now I see two groups, group one and group two. Now what I want to do, I want to take this guy here and I want to add to the connection two. All right, I'm changing the connection two. Now what I'm gonna see, let's see what's gonna happen right now. Well, first of all, I have to click out of here, right? So now this part is no longer editable. I'm going to unfilter it, right? I'm unfiltering. Notice that when I remove the filter here, it does not automatically remove the filter here. Well, because scissors are removed, I broke the connections, right? Okay, so now take a look at this. I have this visualization here. Now I'm going to select this state, right? I selected the data point. This got adjusted, but this did not. Why is that? Because I broke my connection, right? So in here, I could select a different state, right? I could select this state perhaps, right? Oops. Am I selecting the same state? Okay. My bad. Okay, so let's select different state. Well, and then take a look at it. I'm selecting different state. I could do comparison, right? I could compare. For example, how does the basic collision total claim vary by the state, right? Does it high? Is it higher or is it lower in a different state? Something like that. Scissors, I selected different state. It's because I broke the connection. I split these guys. I split this widget into two groups. But to restore this, let's say I'm done and I want to restore it. I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna select this again and I'm going to, well, I'm gonna do, see this? I'm gonna add to this to the first group and then I'm gonna select this two and add this to the first group, right? So this here, this will add this to the first group, right? So now you saw, well, this was an example of connections, right? Sometimes you may use this for comparison. You break the connection and you select one state at the top and another state at the bottom, right? So that's one way to do the comparison. Because earlier, last time we saw the comparison card, but here you can do more than one visualization. I just chose the way to, okay? No, let's see. I have to click out of this. Well, remember, I have two tabs, right? So let's say I want to add my states to this tab again. Well, and I'm gonna explain why I'm doing it. But let's say what see this here. This is a state, right? I can just do this, and if I don't like it, I can always change. I can always change my visualizations, because if I click here, see this will show you what else I could be interested in, right? Perhaps I want to do the table. Well, this is a table, right? And I can specify my color, etc. So let's keep it as a list for right now, right? Let's keep it like as a list of states, because when you have a list like this, you can actually use it to filter visualizations, right? And then here, well, I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna go back to the pins, and I'll just put this here. Well, I'm doing it for the reason because I wanted to demonstrate how the filters work. Okay. Well, so here I've got two tabs, right? What I'll do right now is I'll filter it, right? I remove the filter across the board. I'm gonna use the filter here now from this demonstration. So take a look at this. I'm gonna look, well, not this, but it's here, the list of fields. And I want to filter the whole dashboard by the state, right? Well, I may not have that list of states, right, that I just added. To filter the whole, to filter all tabs, I'm gonna drag and drop the field here. And here I want to select which states I want to see. I selected Iowa and Kansas, and all my visualizations got adjusted based on the selection. Now, when I navigate to the second tab, I see the same adjustments. Why? Because I applied the filter to all tabs, and it shows here. See this? It shows on both tabs. Now, what I could do is I could delete filter. Okay, I deleted the filter. Well, remember that deleting the filter will remove the filter, and resetting the filter will remove the criteria that you set in the filter. Here, now we're gonna do is I'm gonna put a filter only to this tab, right? And I'm gonna select Oklahoma. This tab is adjusted to Oklahoma. On the other hand, the second tab is not adjusted because that filter was applied to a single tab, right? Well, so that's filters. I'm gonna remove this for right now, delete filter. Another thing that you could do is you can add text, and there is a video that I prepared for you, and I explained the details on how to add images and how to add text. One thing to keep in mind is that you cannot copy and paste the image directly. You have to add a URL for an image. An image has a website URL, right? So, and the widgets are in here. These are those as the widgets. You can add text and you can add shapes and you can play around with the text properties, right? So like, for example, this is my favorite text. I love data extend, right? Okay, so this is a text, and you've got several options. You can edit the properties in this little bar, or you can click on the properties and edit them here. Okay. Now here, here you have to make some decisions, if you will, because I'm gonna show you how to export the dashboard into a story. But once you do that, well, you want to make sure that you're completely done with your dashboard before you do this step. Before you do this step, you want to make sure that this is done. Because once you export it, any changes that you make to the dashboard won't be visible on the story. And I'll show you now. Let's save this and let's go back. I want to make sure that I did not miss anything because sometimes I don't necessarily follow the slides. But, well, I showed you the dashboard properties, right? Tab properties. And I showed you there are multiple ways to add visualizations, right? Now, and I showed you we did duplicating, right? And editing, we did that. And I showed you, well, the only difference here on the slides, I'm using different visualization tab, but the idea is the same. The properties that you have available depends on the visualization type that you select, right? And you may change visualization type, and you may expand and collapse visualizations, right? So I showed you how to change the properties, right? So this is for the pie chart. The properties that you see depend on the visualization you're looking at. Here, this is about adding the text, and I went through it too quickly because I have a video where I show you the details on how to add widgets, right? So hopefully you find that video helpful. Well, adding an image, you have to add the image URL. Same thing for the video. You cannot just paste the video. You have to specify the URL where the image is. Okay. And I believe it has to be like a PNG file or something like that. You specify the full URL. And well, this one, the idea here to show the visualizations are linked. I just wrote it down for you. Okay. And now we're going to look at the stories. Okay. Well, what is a story? Telling a story is not, in other words, is that you want to tell a narrative. You want to add some maybe animation. You want to specify when things appear, disappear, right? You may also add images and text, right? You may specify how things are transitions. There are multiple ways to create a story. You may create a story from the scratch, and I'll show you this. So let's close this out because for you, I prepared a different dashboard. So I'm going to use an example to create a story, but first we close this and let's go ahead and close this as well. So, well, what could I do? I could do this. I could do new story, but if I do it this way, I would have to specify the data source, and I would have to redesign every single string, right? I would have to, the story consists of strings, right? Dashboard has tabs. Story consists of strings, and every string has widgets, and you must specify when things on a string appear, disappear. You must specify the transitions, and there are also different types of stories. Okay, there is a guided journey, and I spelled out the difference for you. And there is a slideshow. Slideshow is somewhat similar to the the PowerPoint presentation. This is similar. So the whole idea is that you're using different canvas, and here you're using the same canvas for the guided journey, and I'll show you that. But for your assignment, well, okay. For your assignment, this is what you're gonna do. You want to make sure that you're completely done with the dashboard. So just for you, let's assume I was completely done with the dashboards. Well, this is a dashboard that I kept in mind. And what I did was I created a subfolder called demos in my content. Remember, you can create folders to organize your content. This is this is a dashboard that I created. So in here on the first page, you see this little title and the image, right? And how is this configured? Well, okay, look, it's gonna happen to you too. I selected this, but oh boy, where are the properties? Why can't I see my properties? Aha, remember, the dashboard has an edit mode and a view mode, right? Right now I'm in the preview. I need to click on this pencil. Now I can edit, and now I can see the properties, right? So here are the properties. See this? What you have to do with an image, you have to specify the actual URL of an image. See that this is a JPEG file. So when you look at the web page, if you do right click on the image, right? Probably, well, sometimes you need to do view source, it depends on the browser. But this is, if I take this URL, go Control C, right? And if I paste this URL in the browser, I should see the image. Not sure what's going on, but this is, oh, because I did not copy the whole URL. Well, but what I'm saying, in other words, I can take this guy here, Control C, and I can do this. So this is an image. See this? Well, see that this is a URL, right? You have to put this URL, the whole thing. You cannot do copy and paste the image. See this? And you can add description. This is optional. Now, so I have multiple tabs in here, right? And I called it for a reason. I call it a scene. So here, remember this. Let's pretend it was my assignment 3 that I just submitted for grading. So this is, remember you did the models, and this is a decision tree to predict the total claim. And I've got this thing here because I want to look at the which rules describe most of my data, so to speak, right? And then here, this is a number of customers by state. Then this is the average claim amount by vehicle type, right? And etc. This is the average claim amount, right? So I've got a lot of my stuff in here. I've got a lot of visualizations. I'm done with this. So I'll show you what I'm gonna do next in here. I'll close this and I'm gonna save this, of course. Well, I decided that I'm done. This is what you're gonna do. This is a shortcut that's gonna save you hours on homework assignment. Watch. Save as a story. Save as a story. Now I have a choice. I can select a template, or I can select slideshow, or I can select a guided journey. I'm gonna do the slideshow right now. But if you look at the slides, I explain to you the differences. Well, it's just a matter of if you're using the same canvas or not. Everything else is just, you can specify when the objects appear, you may specify the duration, you may apply the filters, add animations, and filters work similar to what we did in the dashboard. You can add filter that applies to all scene, you can apply the filter to a single scene, right? So let's go back. I'm gonna select this right now, and I'm gonna go select. And what this will do is, well, first of all, look, I'm going to do my content, and let's also save it in the demos subfolder. So this is, I call it, by default, it's gonna take the dashboard name, and it's gonna prefix it with the word story. And then I want to open it after I save it. Oh, okay. Well, the problem here is this, let me cancel. I already have a story with the same name. So you cannot have two stories with the same name. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do select and I'm gonna specify something different. Let's specify, let's just add something, right? Because you cannot have two files with the same name in the same folder. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit save in here. Let's see, it did it right now. What I see right now, I'm in a story right now. Okay, one thing to remember is this: any changes that you make to your dashboard from this point on are not going to be applied to this story. The changes you make to the dashboard from this point on will not be applied to this story. So you want to make sure that you're really done with your dashboard, before you move on to this step, right? And see this? Every scene was used to be a tab before. This is second tab, third tab, and etc. Right? And if I wanted to, I could add more. I could add more scenes, and I've got different templates too. See here? I have different templates, but again, you need to keep in mind is that the more stuff you add, the longer it might take to load. Okay? Now here, well, usually it's not a concern, but if you're doing somewhere when you are on perhaps if you're not working from home, if you're working from cafe, perhaps somewhere where the internet speed is slower, well, I'm just telling you that the number of visualizations that you put on a single scene could have an impact on how long the scene takes to load. Just remember this. Now, what else I can do is, well, I can preview it, but to preview it, I have to select this, play all scenes, and then I have to go to the view mode, right? I cannot just preview it. Well, first we save, and then we're gonna go to the view mode. Well, I'm now the first scene, and I'm gonna click on a play. Do you see anything interesting? Probably you don't, because you don't see anything happening because I did not configure anything, right? I did not specify any of the transitions. I did not change the duration. I did not specify when the objects on a scene are visible and when they are hidden, right? So I'm going to stop this and I'm going to go back to the edit mode. Now, well, let's just assume that I want to edit the second scene, right? And when I click here, on this error, I'm opening the scene timeline. So see that those guys here are numbered 1 through 4. Each piece here has a number, right? And this little bar specifies when the specific visualization is visible. And I can adjust if I drag this edge of the bar to 1 second, it means that this part, right? This visualization won't be visible until I hit this moment in time, right? When I play this visualization, once I get to this point in time, I'm gonna see this, right? So here, I can preview only single scene, right? I'm in the edit mode. I can preview one scene. See this? And when I hit this second, this piece became visible, right? This in the beginning, I don't see it, but it's visible when I hit this 1 second. Now, alternatively, I can take this guy here and I can hide it. I drag this edge. When we hit 4 seconds, I want this to be not visible, right? So now let's preview this. See this? So we are 1 second marker. Now we are the 4 second marker. This disappears. This stays. Alternatively, I can also change the scene duration. To change the scene duration, you just take this and drag this outside, okay? And you would probably need to adjust the rest of it. But when I drag this edge, I'm changing my scene duration, okay? So by default, it's 5 seconds, but you may need to change it as you're working on it. Now here, I can save this, and then I can minimize this, right? So this is a timeline. Now, what else you could do is you're gonna go to the properties and you can change. Well, here you've got the different palettes, etc. Well, I selected the visualization. That's the reason why it showed me the visualization properties. I need to unselect visualization, right? Then it's gonna give me the general story properties. And I've got snap to grid, right? I have different options, including the color scheme. And let's close this. Here it is. Well, I can do the story type form at the moment. Let's look at the slideshow. Well, the transition, I can do the animated pass or I can do the sweep. So because remember earlier when I did the preview, there was nothing interesting, right? So now there will be something to see. I have to exit edit mode, right? And I have to go back to the beginning and we are now playing. Let's see what's gonna happen. I'm going back scissors. Well, Now I'm going back here. See the animation, see how it showed height stuff on the second scene? There was some showed height, okay? Now you cannot really see the transition, but let's go back to the edit mode, and I can do different transition types. So animated pass, and I can also do the sweep. So you save this, you leave the edit mode, right? You have to be in the preview mode. So now I can see, let's see, I can play it. Well, see this, it's gonna go to the, now it's gonna go back to the, I should have been on the first scene to start with. And you will see what I mean by transition. So see, this is the first scene. Well, take a look at it, what's gonna do now. It's gonna do, see? So this is a transition. You specify how you go back from one scene to the next, right? Okay, now what else you could do is this. Let's exit. And this is a guided journey. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna do the slideshow. I'm gonna change to guided journey. And again, you've got different layouts. Okay, for guided journey, it's different. This is before I see the first scene, I see the quick start. When I click on a quick start, I can see all of my scenes like this. This is important because you have to submit something for grading. So you have to somehow, if you're using a guided journey, the easiest way to do this is to select the first slide here, the first scene, or whatever scene it is before the first scene, right? Well, then you can minimize these windows. I can close these windows, right? And I can do some playing with zooming in, zooming out, and I can take a screenshot of this, right? Because this shows my professor my scenes that I have, right? So I have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's gonna play these little numbers here. It shows the order in which it's gonna play them, right? So this assumption I can show in my paper. You can take the screenshot of this, right? For guided journey, it's easy. You just go back to all of this here, and also at the end. So you can choose first or last, whatever it works easier for you. And here you can add new scenes and add new stuff to them, right? Okay. And well, you have to be on the edit mode to be able to add the filters, right? You can add filters, and you can also well, change properties, etc. So I minimize this, right? So this is a filter area. I can apply the filter to all scene, or I can apply the filter to the specific scene. When I'm adding stuff, I got the assistant, right? And I've got the plots, right? The widgets. Oh, remember that when we had dashboard opened, I used the assistant, right? So whatever commands I ran in my assistant, unless I clear them, I also see them here. I didn't clear the assistant. What I did the search on is available here. And also, I'm gonna see the same pins. I can reuse my pins, right? Etc. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save this. And I'm going to close this, right? Okay, I'll close this. And I have to show you how to create a dashboard from scratch. Because, well, for assignment 5, the approach you take it will be up to your team, but I still have to show you this. When you create new story from the scratch, you're going to select what layout you want, right? I'm just doing this. Now, I don't see anything. And the reason I don't see anything, I didn't specify what I want to use as a source. Now I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go select source, and I have to go to my content, and I would have to select the data modules that I want to use as a source, and I would have to physically redesign every single slide, like adding titles, adding visualization, etc. I'll let you play with this. Okay. Well, so if I take this approach, I have to add stuff. So it depends on your preferences, but for assignment 4, you have to have the story, you have to have a dashboard and a story. So the easier way to do that is to create your story from the dashboard, and it's your starting point, and then you're gonna add stuff like timelines, you're gonna add transitions, etc. Okay? So, but you're not starting it from scratch. So it's all about working smart, if you will, right? And other housekeeping things that you can adjust this to full screen, and then you can readjust back. So if I click on escape, well, it's taking a little bit of time to adjust. Escape, right? Well, you can play around with the zoom for the purposes of taking screenshots. But now, see this, if it has an asterisk, it means I did not save it, and I don't want to save it. I don't want to save it. I can just close this without saving, just for this example. Now what I can do is, let's see, let's go back to the slides to make sure that I covered everything that I want to cover about the stories. We talked about the transition styles. We talked about the interface, right? So you can select scenes, you can specify when things are available. There is a timeline here. Okay. And in here, I showed you how to export your dashboard as a story. So that way you're not starting it from the scratch, right? And here I'm just showing you that each tab in a dashboard will become a story tab eventually, right? So, well, you see that in here, right? Each tab becomes the scene in the story. Okay. Now we're gonna get to, well, first of all, I'm gonna show you some samples, and then we're gonna get into the group stuff. Okay. So, well, notice that you have this team content here, and you have this little, well, you use data for assignments, but another thing that you have in here, this folder samples. Well, this is not something that you're going to turn into your instructor to get graded on, but sometimes it's a good idea to look at the sample. That gives you some idea for what you're going to do, right? I'm going to click here. Look at this. There is some sample dashboard that you can look at, and you have your privileges for this folder is run. So it means that you can actually open up the dashboard and you can do the preview, right? You can preview the contents, you can interact with it. You cannot save it, you cannot edit it, but you can interact, like selecting data points and etc., right? You cannot make any changes like edits, right? Well, if you want to play around and edit it, you would have to save a copy of this dashboard to your content area. But what I'm showing you is that what you can do, close this and close without saving. In fact, you won't be able to save it. And the reason you won't be able to save it is because we don't have a write permission for the team content, right? For these folders. You don't have. So I've got the sample stories. I also have the sample well, look at this. We've got the sample. Well, this was a dashboard. You've got sample stories. And here, look at this. See this? You have a guided journey template. And you can click on this guided journey template. And you can just basically play this story, right? This is a sample. You're not going to submit this to get graded on. But this is a good sample to look at. So that will help you get an idea of what you want to do for your assignment, right? Let's go ahead and close it. So remember that your permission for that is run, okay? So run permission is a little bit more than read only. It allows you to actually preview. You can interact with the story for this. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead. Oh, also note that everything that you had opened, regardless from which location, is going to show on your recent. What I see here, this is a recent and also recent here. Okay, now we're going to get into fun. Your last assignment, last assignment, this is fun, but not at the expense of still doing the work, right? Assignment 5 is a group work. What's going to happen is that towards the end of week 9, your instructor will put you in a group. And me, as an administrator, I'll be creating the subfolders, and each team will get their designated folder. So you're going to stay tuned for announcements on when the teams will be ready. Your instructor will put the teams in a Leo, and I will match the same team assignment in Cognos. Okay. Now, whatever you're going to save in whatever you have saved in your content area, remember you cannot, your teammates cannot see it, right? So you would have to save file to a team folder, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And there is also a video that was put together with more details. But, well, the way I suggest to approach this assignment is that in every team, decide who is going to be a team leader, because there is a piece of work that only team leader is going to do. So you've got this data set in here. Look, under the team content, I'm going back, right? So here it is. I've got this data for assignments. And if I look at this, well, I have this. See this? You have assignment 5 folder, and you've got 5 data sets to choose from. So you want to choose the data as a team, but there is something that your team leader will need to do. Your team leader is going to take one of these data sets that you selected and copy, make a copy of the file to your team folder, okay? And what is a team folder? Let's discuss this. When you are assigned to the team as an admin, I'm gonna create the designated folder for you. So when you click on the team content, this is a new folder that you're gonna see. You're gonna see assignment 5 group work. You're gonna click on it. This is a semester that you're taking the class on. Okay, like for example, right now is summer 2021. I'm gonna make an assumption here. Let's assume that I'm taking a session 9040 and my professor put me in a group 1. So I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna see summer 2021 because this is the semester I'm taking the course in. I'm gonna click here. What I see in here is this. Look, session. The session is, how do you know your session? You see it at the top in Leo. At the very top, it says the course and the session. So if you are in session 9040, let's assume I'm in session 9040, and I'm a member of team 1. Let's just assume that. So this is my folder. Well, when you are told that the folders are ready for the team, you want to log in as soon as possible and check. Make sure that you do not see it. If you're a member of team 1, make sure that you do not see a folder for team 2, right? It should not happen. But if it happened, you submit the case. For me, it's a no-brainer to fix. You know that, right? Okay, so this is a folder. This is a folder for a team, and you have a write permission for the folder that was designated to your team. And every team member has the same permissions on the folder. So if you notice that you are unable to save a file in here, probably your teammate cannot save the file in there also, because the permissions are assigned at the group level, and then the group is given access to the folder. That's how it is set up, right? Okay, so this is what your team leader is going to do. Your team leader is going to go to here, data for assignments. All of you are going to look through this data, and the team leader will make a copy of the data to the folder, to your team folder. So let's see how you're going to do this. Suppose that as a team you decided to do the cars data. If I'm a team leader, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to select this copy or move. Remember, you use the same approach for your very first assignment, right? You copied the file, the data file to your area, but right now instead we're going to go to the team content, right? Well, team content. Jesus, if you see 2 heads, it means you're in the team content. This here shows you the current location. You want to navigate back to the team content, and you want to do the assignment 5 group work. So this is a folder, right? Well, this is your folder. I'm going to select copy to. Now remember, you cannot select move to because you don't have a write permission on that folder, on a folder with datasets. You don't have a write permission because in order to move the file, you have to have a permission to delete the file, right? You have to have a write permission, you don't have it. So you're gonna do the copy too, okay? You're gonna make a copy. Now what you're gonna do is this. The rest of the team is gonna go back and you're gonna go to the here. This is a assignment 5 group work. You're gonna go back in here, you're gonna go to your team and make sure that you see the file. If you're a member of the same team, you should be able to see the files that your team may save. Now, if you're a team leader, you're also gonna do this. You're gonna click here and you're gonna create data module, right? And then you're gonna save it. And please, 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 everybody, when you're working, make sure that you work from the same copy of the data. So you probably want to some kind of like discuss how you're going to split the work, because you want to have a single copy of the data module where you apply all the filters, right? Not 10 copies, but a single. Well, it's because you want to, in order for your teammates to see, to be able to open the visualizations, you have to, it has to be saved in a team folder and it has to use the same copy of the data module as a source. You want to make sure that they're using the same copy of the data module as a source. Otherwise, there's going to be a problem, right? There's going to be a problem. You will be able to open the visualization and your teammate will not, right? So here, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna save this as, well, first of all, where I want to save it, right? And I want to save it in a assignment 5 group work summer, and this is my team. And I'm gonna call it cars data module, right? Cars data module. And it's gonna save the file in my, it's gonna save the file in the team folder, right? Well, so every teammate is supposed to see this file. So now, see this? And also another way to check is, well, notice this. This is a person menu. And in here, you can do, well, there is a my preferences. And then in here, in the personal, in the advanced, and in here, if you look at the groups and roles, here it shows you what permissions, what groups you're member of. So all authenticated users is, in general, it's like everybody, anybody who is able to log in. This is the team name that you're a member of, right? So for example, this user is a member of summer 2021, right? This is a team name. This is what I called it, right? It's not a folder name, it's a team name. And everyone, this is everyone in a everyone taking the data 610, right? Because there are certain permissions for everybody taking data 610. You see that folder with a data set, right? And this is a role that you have. Well, it determines the permissions that you have for your content area, right? So, well, if you're not sure, right, this is another way to check what groups you have access to. Instructors have access to all groups in the classroom. There are members of all groups in the session that they teach. Okay, that is what I will be doing it for instructors. I have not done it for the summer yet, because we have not. Well, I set up some templates, but I have not assigned anybody to the teams yet. I only assigned this demo user for this demo purposes, right? So basically, I've got 2 demo users and I've taken a screenshot. Do not worry about the configuration, but what I wanted to show you is this. I have 2 demo users that are members of the same group, right? I just took a screenshot. Don't worry about the settings. I'll take care of it. But what I'm showing is this. I've got 2 users who are members of the same group. I took a screenshot. So now, I'm now logged in as a first user. I'm going to sign out. Look, I'm going to sign out. Now I'm going to sign in as the second group member, right? Okay. And before you do this, well, you want to make sure that you close everything, because you might have, there could be issues with editing. So first user should close anything that was open before he or she signed off, right? But I'm gonna now sign in as a second user, right? This is a second user. I'm gonna sign in, and I should be able to access the same folder. If I go to team content, see this? I see assignment 5 group work, right? This is the summer semester. This is my team. And those are the files that my team leader put for me, right? Those are the files that my team member added. I should be able to save files and edit files in this folder too, because I'm a member of the same team. Wait a minute, my teammate just saved the file here. So it means that both of us got the right permission for the same folder, right? Because the groups are configured separately. Well, I took the screenshot just to show you that two users are members of the same group, okay? I'm just showing you two users I'm looking at are members of the same group. But please don't worry about the configuration. I'll take care of it. But I just took a screenshot just to show you, just to show you proof of concept, right? So now here, also notice that the work that I did today in a first demo user, it's not visible in here because anything that I saved in the my content, I cannot see, right? I cannot see the my content stuff of the other user. I can only see whatever was shared, right? So those two people are members of the same team. So if I save something in this folder too, right? I'm a second team member. If I go in and if I perhaps I want to do let's just do it quickly. Create exploration, right? I created exploration and I'm gonna save it as cars exploration, right? Save as, and I'm doing something like cars exploration, right? And I want to save it into the team assignment 5. See, this is my team folder. I'm gonna save it here, right? I saved it. Now what I need to do is I have to make sure that I close it, because if I don't close it and my classmate tries to edit it, there could be a problem, right? Also, this is a shared folder, right? The folder is shared. It does not mean that you can edit the same file at the same time. You cannot, okay? So I'm gonna close this now, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sign off again. I'm gonna sign off and I'm gonna log in back as my first user, right? I'm gonna go back as my first user, right? Okay, well, now if I go here, let me show you, I'm gonna see. I'm supposed to see in the team content, if I go back to my team folder, I'm gonna see the exploration that another member created. So that's basically how the file sharing works, right? I did this, I created some setup. So I configured the first team and I added demo users as team members for right now. I'm gonna remove it. When the time comes to add you to the groups, I'm gonna remove all of that stuff and I'm gonna remove the team members that I'm using for this demo. I'm gonna remove them from the group. But I had to do something just for the purpose of this demonstration, right? I showed you how this works, right? The group work is fun, but you need to make sure that you're saving the work and make sure that you're careful with the deletions, because if you delete the files that you use to create the exploration, your exploration will become no longer valid and there is no way to fix it. Well, it's because, look at this, if you look at these properties, at this data module, it has the properties, right? And if you look at the properties, advanced, each data module has a unique ID. This is an ID. And your data exploration is associated with this ID, right? If you delete the specific data module, even if you create another data module with the same name, you cannot restore the visualizations because the visualizations associated with this ID. See this? This is associated with this specific ID, okay? And now I see permission is full because, well, this is something that I created and this is located in my content folder, right? So that's why I've got the permission here. Okay, but well here, oh, it looks like you can see it. If you see, you can see, you won't be able to do anything much because you don't have admin permission. But what I'm saying is that what you will see, this is your folder, right? Sometimes, well, oh, this is a data module, right? You could also add the description. The description is editable, right? But so the thing is, you will not be your classmates are not gonna see this folder. This is not the class work. This is not the whole class work, right? Only your instructor will see it, and the TAs will see it because they need to be able to provide support. So I'm gonna add them to the members also. Okay. So, and this is steps to copy something to your folder, right? And I just showed you that, but I spelled it out for you. Now, this is you on the last day of class when one of your teammates deletes something. This is an error message, you're gonna see it, okay? It just, you cannot load the data, that's it. Your nothing, everything that you use to create that from the data will become invalid if you delete the data. Even the data set that you used to create data module, if you deleted it, you know, what do you call it? Kaput? Or whatever you want to call it, right? In any language. That's it. It's done. You can't do anything about it, right? And this is also, oh, this is what happens. Sometimes if you delete the files that you recently opened, you're gonna see this error. If you delete the file, but sometimes once in a while the file is deleted, but it's still sitting in a recent. So this is the reason sometimes you can get this error. I throw it in here just in case, right? This is a bonus example, case calculation. And then what I did, I created a video about this. This was for students' request from last semester. And you guys can request videos also, by the way. Okay, so this is just a bonus example and there is a video. And I guess that's it on what I plan to show, but I would like to open the floor for questions. Any of you? See, I like questions because the questions shows me that people have been paying attention. And now since you have been working with application for some time, there is a chance that you may have some questions, right? Because you've been working on this for a while. And one thing that I forgot to tell you, similar to what you did, similar to what you did to the first presentation, you will have to watch this presentation more than once. Trust me, you will have to watch this presentation more than once. And this is also the case for the small videos. There are some small case videos for the stories and for the dashboards. You will need to watch them more than once to grasp the content more, right? And again, when it comes to the group permissions, when you're assigned to the group, please do yourself a favor, check as soon as possible because we don't want any surprises on the last days of class, right? You want to make sure that you have access because for me to fix it, it's a no-brainer, right? Because I'm familiar as an admin, I'm familiar with the setup, right? I'm familiar with what I did. So it's just very easy. It can be handled, and I take this as a high priority when it comes to access, because I don't want this to slow you down. I want you to be able to move on. Okay? So questions, guys. I want you to ask questions. It's a one advantage of attending a live session is an opportunity to ask questions, any visualizations that you want to see or anything. And usually, well, it doesn't happen a lot, but if I don't have the answers, then I'll get back to you. Okay, so let me see the chat. You mentioned two people can work. Well, okay, two people cannot work in the same document at the same time. Well, yes, it could lag. It could lag. Yes, excellent question. the behavior is very unpredictable. We ran into issues before, and thankfully I was able to ask IBM. They said that it's not recommended, do not work on the same file at the same time. You might be locking it, or also maybe like, if I have it open, I might not see the changes that you make. You might end up overwriting it. That behavior is unpredictable. So I would say you're safer not doing it at the same time. So you might want to come up with some kind of like agreement who does what and at what time. And speaking of collaborations, uh, well, you might use, there is a free version of Zoom and you got the 40 minutes for free. Then after 40 minutes, you can do another 40-minute session. Oh, before I forgot, you will have to record the presentation for assignment 5. So you may end up using the free version of Zoom. You can just sign up, do the recording, and you would need to turn in the link to recording, because assignment 5 has both paper and recording, right? So you would need to use probably Zoom. And you may also use Zoom for the virtual meetings, right? Or you may also use a Microsoft Team. As a student, you have access to Microsoft Team. So you can use this to collaborate, but this is all about the teamwork. You need to decide how you are going to assign the work, right? Perhaps one person could work on one scene, another person on the other. Well, it's up to the team, right? But you cannot have open at the same time. Oh, excellent, excellent. Oh, okay, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, you can open it in a view mode. You can open it in a view mode, yes. But you can do it, but the problem is what happens if somebody who's working with you makes changes at the same time. See, it's very tricky. There are a lot of questions that are unanswered, right? Okay, but there are a lot of things that are unpredictable. So to be safe, I would suggest to not do it. Just to be safe, okay? Before we started using the Cognos, we used Watson, and oh, trust me, there were a lot of problems, and most of the issues occurred in the last few days. And this is sad. This is very sad situation. But in one of the teams, somebody deleted something on the last day, and there is no way to restore. So as you're working on it, please make sure that you at least take screenshots, because that way you have something to submit. Things happen, we're all human. We'll make a mistake, but some mistakes are hard to fix. So you can also save a backup copy to your content area, just in case, you want to save your work, and sometimes you want to have a backup copy when it comes to it. But remember that deletions cannot be undone. This could be very, very serious issue, okay? Because there are dependencies between data. So you need to work smart, work really careful, okay? Well, but this project is an opportunity to work in teams, because that's how it is now in the work environment, right? And you also have to not just write the paper, but sometimes you need to speak. You need to present the findings to the management. It could be a recording, it could be live, right? But here you need to do I think it's about 10-minute recording, something like that. Okay, you just play your story and explain your story. Okay, and it's going to be the instructor's decision on how many members on the team. Usually it could be 3 to 5. Well, it depends on how many students you have in the class, and it depends on how it's mainly instructor's decision. I just get the membership and I do configuration accordingly. Okay, well, I hope it makes sense, but don't worry about the configuration. The only reason I showed you that screenshot is that to be clear that those two people that I looked at belong to the same, assigned to the same team. Okay, but it will be set up for you when the time comes. Okay, so your instructors will let me know the memberships, and I will set up. And as soon as you're told that you're all set, please kindly access your account and make sure that you see the folder. Okay, and it's supposed to have the right permission to the folder to your group. Okay, any additional questions? I want to make sure that this is clear. because this is very important. So don't wait until the end. We don't want anything like surprise, last day of class, you don't have access, what you gonna do, we don't want those type of things, right? We want everybody make sure that you're all set. Well, for the teams, not now, but whenever it's set up, you're gonna be told. Your instructor will notify you, and then you're gonna log in and check. Okay? Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not sure if Professor was able to attend, but she's gonna get a copy of the recording, like all of you will. And let's see, I don't see anyway. Okay, so new instructors, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send the PowerPoint presentation and I'm gonna send recording to your instructor, and they're gonna post it in your announcement in your class, right? However, they've been doing it. Okay, so guys, going once, questions? Well, if there are no questions, then I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to end the question. I'm going to end the session. But most welcome. I'm so glad. I hope that you found this helpful. Right? I hope you find this helpful. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see the chat for a minute. Oh, okay. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna end the recording and I'm gonna stop the sharing. So stop recording.